Hey everyone, this is Lynn, and we are going to be trying to make a journal from one of the My Little Golden books. A lot of us, well, I don't know about a lot of us, but I remember reading these when I was a kid, so a lot of the stories are pretty cool to me. So this will be our experiment for the day. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to set this to the side real quick, and I want to paint some of my fabric, which is going to be my spine. All I'm using is acrylic paint, pretty cheap. Get it just about anywhere. This one's the rose gold. I'm trying to make sure I'm somewhat in the right area. And I am going to be using a massive sponge brush today because it's the only one I can locate at the moment. I cut my fabric oversized, but I want to make sure that I have enough made. So as you can tell, this fabric's quite a bit longer than the book is. And then I cut another piece, which we're going to use for the inside part of the cover. I know there's a lot of people that have made these, and I'm sure there's a lot of videos. However, I want to do a hidden spine with it. We'll see how this works. So the first thing I want to do is just play with my paint. And I'm going to smear it all over this piece of fabric. I'm not worried about it being perfect. I just want to do this first so it has a chance to dry while I'm working on the rest of my book. I'm kind of hoping to do this more or less a start to finish book on camera, but I'm assuming we are going to have homework because I don't like making long videos. And this will probably be long. So I'm going to paint. I put down a piece of just plastic wrap on a cookie sheet. I'm kind of using the cookie sheet to give it some support so I can move it later, get it out of my way. And I'm using the plastic wrap so I don't paint all over everything. And this will end up kind of seeping through to the other side. This was just a piece of cheap white fabric. Not very thick. It's just, I think it was a piece of muslin. You can use, recycled clothes for this part of the project. Really anything you want because you're going to cover it up. The only thing I would say is depending on the paint color that you're using, like for this color, since it's kind of light, I probably wouldn't go with a real dark fabric. That would be my idea. Now, who knows? It could work perfectly fine. I just don't know. And I don't know how big my spine's going to be on this cover yet. So I made it where it could be probably a 6-inch spine if I needed it to be. Just because I cut this fabric so big. Okay. So I got a coat on all of it. Now, since this was a pretty thin coat, it won't take long for it to dry. I'm trying to make sure I actually got all of it covered. Maybe. So there we go. That's done. I'm just going to set it to the side and let it dry. I'm going to do this other piece the same exact way, but I'm going to do that off camera. So extra homework, paint both pieces of your fabric to cover your spine. The way I'm going to take this book apart is it's actually constructed with 2 signatures. There's 2 staples in it, and then the part that's the golden book, the spine that we all recognize, is actually like a piece of tape that they put over to cover up the staples. I'm trying to see if I can kind of show you. So you can see probably just a little piece of the staple there. I'm going to make sure I'm in view on this. Yep, okay. So what I want to do is hopefully I'm going to tear my cover off. And what I want to do is get it down by this crease. Sometimes you can be fortunate and the whole thing will kind of pull off. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. There we go. Oh, look, it's even going to pull my staples out. Don't pull this other one out so I can show you guys. Okay, good, it didn't. Okay, so my staple's still in there, and this is not the side of the staple I want. I want the other side of the staple. So, maybe. And the reason, okay, it would be far easier if it all pulled out nice and neat. But I want to show you guys what I did when it didn't work that way. Here we go. I just exposed the prongs, I guess, of the staple. You can kind of see them right there. And then I took a pair of pliers. And all I'm trying to do is unfold my prongy thingies. Technical term. So they were folded over. All I did was kind of unbend them. And then I'm going to, from this side, pull my staple out. Yes, my fingers are nice and glittery. I'm going to take my signatures and just kind of put them to the side, the signatures from the book. I'm just gonna try to get some of that debris off. Now I did find that sometimes there's a little bit of tape or glue on this edge, so I'm just gonna set those to the side for the time being. Get some of my trash out of the way. I wanna clean up the side of my cover. Now when I did my rip, I did not get this clean, but that's okay because we're gonna cover that part up. So I'm going to take my trusty mat here, because I can't cut a straight line any other way. And I'm going to trim down where that cover stops at. Hopefully nice and neat. I'm trying to kind of line this up so I might have a measurement I can base it off of. Nope, my ruler just completely moved on me. So let's see about how big this book is. It looks to be, what, 6 and probably a 1/16 inch wide. I'll probably take and cut, might cut like a 1/16 of an inch off this cover. I don't know, we'll see here in a second. Because that may also allow for a little bit of an overhang on our pages. So it's 6 and 6/16 inch wide by 7 7/8 tall. Woohoo, nothing like getting very precise with this. Okay, so I'm going to take our cover again and just set it to the side. Let's work on our signatures. One of the really cool things about these books, or at least in my opinion, is trying to use the papers in here that came from the book. And I'm going to show you, hopefully, some tricks that I'm thinking would work, because these pages are going to be too wide. They are 6 and, what, 5/8 wide, where our cover was only the 6 and a 1/16. So that means we got to take, well, let's just say we're going to take the 5/8 off of the side. So my idea is to look at them, look at the pages I want to use, and I can either trim some off of this side and just use it like a page in my signature. I don't think I want to do that with this one because I don't want to cut off my mouse. So what I'm going to do is something different on this. I want to measure my paper. And we said we were going to make it 6 inches wide, or I said I was going to make it 6 inches wide. So I'm going to hold my paper, hopefully on my 6-inch mark. I'm going to crease this. Now, again, if you have a folding or a crease board, a scoreboard, yep, that's the word I wanted, a scoreboard, that would work easier. I just want to show you a different way of doing it. So I've folded my paper, my original book page, so that it is the 6 inches wide. Now what I'm going to do with this little extra piece of paper from the book is I coffee stained some scrapbook paper, and because I didn't want it to bleed, I just sprayed it. But I've already cut them. I cut them 8 inches tall. It'll give me a little extra room, but it leaves me these little scraps of paper. So what I want to do with these for this page is I am going to glue them on this flap and make a little pocket, one on each side, so that when it goes in my signature, I'm going to sew it in this crease that I made there, and then this will still open up and you can read your story if you want. So let's see how this is going to work. Let's see what we have done here. I'm just taking some tacky glue and I'm going to run a bead down the side. Take my paper, I'm going to actually lay it a little bit taller up, giving me a little extra room that I'll trim off later. Just because if I don't do that, I'm going to not give myself enough room. Okay, I left a little bit of a gap between my scrapbook paper and where my fold line is. The main reason for that is just to make sure that I don't put my scrapbook paper too close and interfere with my fold line. So I got that like that. I'm guessing I could come in here and glue these two pieces down. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to sew it in right here. So it's actually going to, you know, close that for me. It's going to close that pocket for me. Let's see, how should I do this? Okay, I'm going to run a bead of glue down here. And I'm going to try to eyeball a bead of glue at both these sides to close in my pocket. Now, if you were going to do some sewing, I might run a bead of glue down the bottom to kind of hold it together, but I probably wouldn't add these two pieces of glue. I would just sew that piece together. But I am hoping to make this a kind of quick, easy project that's minimal supplies. So at this point, I have my two pockets, well, my one pocket, but they are sewn on my, oh my gosh, okay, they are glued to my 2 pages of the book page. So when I get ready to make my signatures, those will just go in like that. You'll have this, and then you'll have your other pages that you choose to put in there. let's see what we want to do. I was going to cut a, what was it, about 7/8? I don't even remember at this point. Yeah, 7/8 off the side. So I'm just kind of laying my ruler on here to see what would end up getting cut off. Make sure it's nothing that I would want to be there. It doesn't have anything on that side. That doesn't have anything, so I'm just going to trim this side off. Kind of an easier route doing it this way. Now, you can also, you know, rip your pages apart, put them in sideways in your signature. That would definitely be probably the easiest way, but you wouldn't be able to read your story. Which, you know, honestly, I'm not going to put all these pages in my book, so you won't be able to read all of it anyways. So I'm just cutting my pages down to the 6-inch. So now I got another 2 sets of pages to go with this one. Let's see. Now, I'm sure you could also take your cover and expand it a little bit so that it would refit your pages. But I'm all about being easy. This is a really good tip. I found this out when I was making a baby book for a friend of mine. For if you have book pages that get torn when you're taking them out or whatever. So you got 2 separate ones. I'm going to go ahead and cut these down to the size that I want. Alrighty. Now for this, you could use washi tape. You could use a piece of scrapbook paper, whatever it is you want. I am going to use a piece of lace because why not? I'm going to protect my surface a little bit because I don't feel like cleaning all this up. Guys, it's like 4 days before Thanksgiving and there is so much to do around here. But I seriously think I'm just at the state of procrastination. I am at the state of procrastination. So what I'm going to do is use my lace to basically seam these 2 pieces of paper back together. So I'm going to use my tacky glue and glue this lace down. Hopefully if I can hold these pieces of paper in the right spot. All right, it is time to make a mess. I'm over it. I tried to be clean, it's not working. It is not working at all. Okay. I feel like I need to be making random noises because nobody wants to hear me just being quiet. Actually, you guys probably do want to hear me being quiet. So now that that's glued down, what I'm going to do is snip my lace off up here. This is why I was going to protect my surface because this glue is going to go through the lace a little bit. And, oh, I just lost power for a quick second. Nothing like losing a little power with you, huh? Okay, so your glue's going to go through your lace a little bit if you're using something like this. But who cares? Who cares? We're just rolling with it. So now I just let this sit to the side, let it dry, come through, trim off my lace on both sides. Like so. Well, no, not like so, because I'm not going to actually do it with you on camera. I have some coffee stained paper I'm thinking about using. Here's a piece that I actually added some of this acrylic ink, not this one, but a different one, in my coffee. Just get your coffee hot when you're making it. Throw a little paint in there and dip it like normal. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. Maybe, maybe not. But there is a little bit of a shimmer, a glitter to it. Just some regular coffee paper. I got some Kool-Aid stain paper, and they're really just kind of my pastel colors. So I got a purple, I got a pink, a blue, a green. Like I said, I got some scrapbook paper. So what I'm going to do is fold them in half, trim them down to the size that I want. I'm not going to worry about an overhang since I'm using the actual book pages and they're not going to have overhang. Okay, they're going to be the same exact size as my cover. So I'm not worried about trimming them down a little bit smaller like I normally would for a book. So guys, homework is paint your fabric for your spines, cut down your paper and fold them in half for your signatures. And once I'm done with that, we'll be back for part 2.